How's it going? We got a real special guest on the show today. We've got Mr. Kristian Kohle from the Kristian Kohle Show. Definitely recommend checking him out. You know him from doing records such as Aborted and Powerwolf. Anyway, Kristian, we've been talking a little bit over the summer and whatnot. It's a real pleasure to have you on the show. How's it going, dude?
I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much. Guten Abend, Herr Fricker, from Germany.
Yep. Exactly, and it's like Germany, the one country in the entire world where my last name isn't funny.
It's a German name, right? Yeah, Fricker is German, yeah.
I think it's actually Old English.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it goes way back. It means town crier.
Oh, okay.
It was an occupation. It was an occupational term. But I was going to say, yeah, the one country in the world where Fricker isn't funny is Germany. That's because in Germany nothing's funny, especially Henning Pauly.
That was my joke. I was about to say we don't have fun over here.
Have you been to Henning's place?
No, but seriously, Fricker sounds like a typical German name.
It really does sound German. I admit. I could be wrong on that, but from what I've dug up, yeah, I mean it's Old English.
If you have a plan on like moving somewhere, like incognito, if you need to disappear, I think Germany is the place to go. You don't even have to change your name.
Yeah, there you go. My wife keeps telling me she wants to move to Germany. I brought her over last year, and she just fell in love with it. It's like, it's so cool. You guys have castles and caves and shit. It's really wicked, and like Roman outposts and neat shit like that. So it's like. Canada's been around since 1867, so we don't quite have the history that goes back that far. We have, we had like the Hudson's Bay Company from the 1600s up to about 1867. Then we had Confederation. It's like, okay. But yeah, in terms of like written history, in terms of, conquerors or anything like that, not really.
Yeah, like Germany is like covered with, I even have 2 castles in jogging distance, so
wow,
real heavy metal. And even like one castle over there, it's 3 kilometers from here, is actually Burg Frankenstein, which is the original Frankenstein castle that inspired Mary Shelley to write the book. So
oh, that's so cool.
Really creepy shit. That's where I live, man.
What part of Germany are you in?
I'm right in the middle. It's called Hessen, and it's right in the middle. It's close to Frankfurt. So most people land in Frankfurt anyway, and I'm like half an hour from Frankfurt Airport, somewhere in the forest. So next time you fly to Frankfurt, make sure to have a beer over here.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. I had no idea that you were that close. I usually fly into Frankfurt about twice a year, so I can definitely make that happen. I've got some buddies up in Cologne that I go visit, and then, Henning, he's about an hour northwest of Frankfurt as well. So, I mean, like, yeah, you're in the neighborhood, I'll stop by. No problem. With that, we can make some content. It'll be great. It'll be lots of fun. Now, the one comment I've been getting on my videos as of late, especially when it came to my tube shootout video, is like, oh, you got to check out Kristian's video. You got to check out Kristian's video. He got different results. And I'm like, did he really? Because I don't know. I heard some, let's hear your take on the whole swap a tube.
I mean, I got millions of comments as well, saying like, hey, but Glenn said this. So we were, I guess we were both connected through those videos. And, I got, and also funny enough is that we actually did the same test. We even used the same amp. I think technically the only difference is that you used an IR.
You used a 1959 Fender?
No, I used the rectifier as well. And
okay, yeah, I did like 4 different amps. I was gonna say, yeah,
and yeah, you were using an IR. I was using a real cab, but in the end, for me, there was a difference, an audible difference on the rectifier between the different tube families, so to say, between EL34s and 6L6. Within, let's say, the 6L6 family, the differences were not worth mentioning, really.
Right.
So I could hear a difference. Is it an important difference? Does it matter? Well, I guess it depends. I would say there are millions of things that are way more important. So.
Oh yeah.
But still. It's like, I mean, people also talk about converters, they talk about mic pre's, they talk about cables. So those things can make a difference. But of course, you shouldn't tell people that swapping the tubes will actually do a lot to their tone. And I'm with you because that's what people have believed, like.
Oh, yeah. Like, I was shocked. Like, I sat here with a buddy of mine the first night, and we just started swapping tubes in and out of a Joyo Zombie because we thought, okay, great. Because the myth, the belief, the accepted dogma is, well, if you change your tubes, you're going to change your sound. And we started swapping tubes. I'm like, well, hang on, what's going on here? Because I'm hearing a bit of a level shift, but I'm not hearing, any kind of real tone change. Now, I will allow for this. Yes, you used a speaker. I used an IR. Now, maybe there's even less of a change with an IR than with a speaker. I mean, if I was using a live speaker, I might have got more of a change, especially when it comes to power tubes. So that might be something I can follow up at some point.
Maybe there's something wrong with my rectifier or with your rectifier. Who knows? It's not
exactly.
It's not. We're not really scientists on YouTube. But I'm sure if you listen to my results, you will hear the difference. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I did. I heard a slight difference in your power tubes, and I'm like, okay, there's a little shift there. But you were using, and you made sure not to bump your mic or change your amp settings, correct?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and then, so that's the big thing. Oh, why do all these other guys, have such huge differences? Like, well, did they bump their mic or their cabinet or move the settings on their amp even slightly? Because that's going to skew the results. Yeah. I went out of my way. I'm like, I had my amps turned around so I could just swap the tubes out and not touch the controls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would get an absolute thing. And like I said, when I started swapping EL6 or EL34s and 606s, I was shocked. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I can't hear a freaking difference at all.
I would sum it up like this. I would say if you are really into like your tube amp and you want to find the perfect sound, it makes sense to make a decision about which kind of tube family you want to use, like KD88, EL34, 6L6. Get that covered and then forget about it.
Yeah.
Because it's actually more important to really have some high quality tubes, I'm using the ones from Tube Amp Doctor, not actually because they sound so much better, but because they last longer and they're not gonna fuck with your amp, So since I've started using those tubes, they just last forever. So that is more important. And then just forget about it and start talking about, I don't know, how to play guitar, how to use the right speaker, to use the right cab, the right amp, the right microphone. That's way more important.
Oh, I completely agree. Yeah, that's the thing. Tubes, the thing you should care about most about tubes isn't the quote-unquote tone or the harmonic content or any of the other nonsense. You want to worry about signal-to-noise levels and longevity. How long is this tube going to last before it breaks? Yeah. Power tubes, I've only ever had one preamp tube and one amp go on me in my entire, career. And that was in my first 5150 of like one of the preamp tubes went microphonic. Swapped it out. Oh, the amp sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay, great. In that regard, yes, it's going to make a difference. But if you want to go from brand to brand to brand, you're not going to get a giant difference. Like you might get a slight difference in amplitude, sorry. One might be a little louder than the other. And then, of course, louder is better due to the Fletcher-Munson curve. So I think that's where a lot of people get confused. It's like, oh, this sounds so much better. Well, it's just a little bit louder. That's all. It's the reason it sounds fuller is because it's hitting you at a different volume level. That's all.
I would say, like, if you're really into details, if you're really like sonic nerd, check out the tube, see what you can find. But as long as people don't really care about speakers, as long as they don't care about cabinets about the other stuff, don't start wasting your time with tubes. Don't even talk about tubes because, that's a small difference. It can be interesting if you're the real nerd, but the difference between cabinets is huge.
Huge. So. Even speakers. It's like I just had a bunch of speakers show up from WGS, and I've just got a Zilla cap. And I'm going to be doing the speaker break-in test like you did there a few weeks ago because a lot of people are like, hey, what do you think? And I'm like, I want to put it to my own test. The trick is my studio is really small, so I got to make sure I can lock a space off and make sure I can get a mic locked off. And what I figure I'm going to do is, now this is going to be the test. I'm going to run a signal through it at top volume for an hour a day on a reamp and come back a week later, and just see if there's any shift in the tone whatsoever.
I did the same thing because that's another myth. Maybe I did this when Eminence sent 2 brand new speakers here. So I thought, cool. Now's the time. Now's the time to do this. And there was no difference at all. No difference at all. Like even I didn't do any like null tests, but it was just I couldn't hear, like in your tube test, I couldn't hear any difference. And I was really expecting something.
Right.
But the thing is, that's what Celestion, what Eminence tell you, it depends. So maybe like on one speaker, it might be like this. On another speaker, it's different. On one batch, it might be, because something is stiffer in that production run. It might be because it kind of makes sense that the material, it's like a leather shoe. It's stiff in the beginning and it needs to be, massaged a little bit. But I'm looking forward to hearing your results, because in my case it was totally disappointing. Like, no change.
Well, no, you know what it is? It's not so much speaker break-in. It's guitar players are losing their top end because they've been playing their amp cranked with no hearing protection for a couple of years. Oh, it's much warmer setting. No, you just fucked up your hearing. That's all.
Yeah, that's also nice. Yeah.
Tell me that isn't true.
Yeah, right. That's what I've been doing all the time, telling people about speakers, because I believe that when we talk about heavy metal guitar tones, it is actually, ironically, it's like the opposite. Like, of how do I explain that? Usually, if you start recording an instrument, the instrument is the most important part of the signal chain. Then comes the microphone, and then it gets less and less important, like mic pre, converter, blah blah blah. But in a metal guitar signal chain, it's actually the opposite. It's not the first part of the signal chain that matters the most, but the cab and the speaker are the most important part.
Oh yeah.
Then comes the amp, and then comes the guitar. And so that's what I've been preaching in quite a few videos, that people should care about speakers and about cabinets.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
But I feel like since people have started using IRs more and more, they start realizing how important cabs are,
Oh yeah. Now I've said this numerous times. I have absolutely no issues with anybody at the Celestion company. I have no issues with Celestion speakers. I think they're fucking great. Greenbacks, vintage 30s. I'm a big fan of all that kind of stuff. I got some redbacks, or I had some redbacks in a coffee cab till they took it back, and that sounded amazing as well. Coffee cabs they're out of the Czech Republic. If you haven't talked to those guys, you should, because holy shit, do they build incredible stuff. I've got one of their cabs here. It's a work of art. It's like kitchen cabinet grade. It's just gorgeous stuff. Anyway, I love the Celestion speakers. Go ahead.
But I think they deserve some more competition. That's what I believe, because I think I can say that. I just did a video for a new Eminence speaker that's going to be released. It's called DV77, and that's the Slipknot signature speaker.
Ooh.
And I totally fell in love with that speaker.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to release the video sometime next week or something, so you better subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, I am. It's like, well, here's the thing. I mean, like, I've been working with a brand new company called Empyrean, and they've designed a couple speakers voiced specifically for metal. And I shot the videos last March, and I haven't been able to release them yet because COVID hit and that screwed up their production and everything. So I'm just waiting for the okay to put these videos out. So when that does come out, yeah, definitely check them out. They sound fantastic, man.
Yeah, same story here, because Eminence also had some problems getting steel or some kind of, they had some production problems due to COVID. But anyway, this speaker, for the first time, it felt like something's actually better than the Mesa Boogie voiced Vintage 30. And I was like, yeah, finally, because Celestion, I mean, they deserve it, because they make great speakers. But, you have Celestion here, and then there's nothing, and then you have Eminence and WGS and others coming who make great speakers. And I think they deserve a little more attention.
Oh, I agree. It's like that's unfortunately that's one of the things about the metal community, especially the online metal community these days, is as soon as somebody comes up with a cool idea, everybody wants to copy it. And nobody wants to do anything new, and nobody wants to try something new. It seems like the stand. I mean, like Owen over at Circle Tone, he'll say the same thing. He calls it the vanilla sausage tone, where it's 5150 into a rectifier cabinet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it sounds great. It really does.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I recorded my theme song with. I mean, like, but that was 10 years ago. It's like, okay, let's try something new.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to do. Also, like in a few other YouTube videos I will be doing, just looking for alternatives here and there, just looking for, let's say, a more dirty tone or a fuzzy tone, or can we try this and do that, just to find some inspiration and then some alternatives to a generic but great sounding metal tone.
Yeah. Right.
Because that might be the future.
Right. Exactly. Like I said, the new Empyrean speakers, they're absolutely stellar, and would definitely recommend checking them out once they come out with the production.
Where are they from? Are they
really
American or?
Yeah, they're American made.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing about WGS as well. Made in America. They're not like, they didn't farm the manufacturing over to China. They actually still build them in the States. So that's
I have actually covered two of their speakers. The Reaper, which sounded great.
Yep,
And their take on the V30, veteran 30, I think.
The Veteran 30, yeah, it's like a little less spiky vintage 30. But yeah, the Reaper is cool, man.
That one sounded good as well, but right now I'm building like a third 4x12 cab for my live room, a Mesa Boogie cab where I have 4 different speakers, like loaded with 4 different speakers, and I have something like 15 speakers here, so I'm really thinking like which ones should I put in there. Right now it looks like it will be 3 Eminence speakers and the WGS Reaper, because it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, the Reaper is so cool. But I definitely want to check out some of these Eminence speakers. I remember trying some Eminence years and years ago and wasn't too happy with the sound. So obviously, if they're getting your recommendation, obviously they've been getting their shit together. That's for sure.
I mean, I think they have like 50, 60 different speakers. So of course, some of them don't work at all. They have a range, I think, bigger than Celestion. So there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, but they have some great sounding speakers, and especially that new Slipknot speaker, which is also like based on a vintage 30. And I think they have the guy from Omega Amps involved, because he is Mick Thompson's guitar tech.
Right. Yeah. I just had a chat with him the other day, not too long after the Tube video came out, because he made a few comments.
Okay, yeah.
He wasn't too happy with my Tube video. So we had a phone call. And suffice it to say, yeah, Omega's going to be on the show at some point. I really want to check their stuff out. It should be really cool.
Oh, no, that amp is actually fantastic. Yeah, it's really...
Yeah, he's just across the river from me. He's over in the Detroit area.
Okay,
so when we're able to travel again, I'm probably going to go to a shop and do a video and shit like that. Should be cool.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to trying them out.
Yeah, he also made sure like that they actually sent me that speaker, because it's not produced yet, and they only have 10 speakers right now, and they send one to Germany. So thank you, Mike. That was nice.
Oh, well, fuck. There we go. Cool. All right. So there we go. There's Kristian Kohle. Check his show out. That's our tubes and speakers video. So one will affect your guitar sound dramatically. The other maybe just ever so tiny. So I mean, like, I understand this can seem like a lot if that's all you're equipped with, but for the rest of us, change your fucking speaker.
Exactly.
All right, everybody, make sure you check out Kristian's show. It's fucking awesome. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.